to help you to have a wonderful winter. Just got to accept that, and have lots of options for yourselves and for your family's food. So one of the first things we're going to do today is we're going to get into Jess's dish, which is a chickpea and turkey meatball soup. Doesn't that sound very warming? Jess is also going to talk to us about slow cooking chickpeas, which she's using in that dish. And then we're going to jump over to Amy. Amy is just over in the Goodwood sort of area there. She's always at the Royal Show. And she's going to be talking to us today about Edna's lemon curd cake. If you haven't made it, you are missing out and you need to get onto it after this. And then I'm going to jump in and we're going to be doing a beautiful Jerusalem artichoke soup with some cheesy shards. So we'd love you to participate, you know, jump in the chat box and comment. We'll check the comments regularly. So we'll answer your questions that you might have. And look, let's inspire each other to have an amazing, amazing winter full of beautiful, hearty foods that we can share with our family and loved ones. So without ado, we're going to jump straight over to you, Jess.
Thank you so much, Karen. Need to press my unmute button there. And thank you for that great intro. We're going to hopefully inspire everyone with lots of lovely dishes, as well as lots of hints and tips. So I'm going to get started. I'm doing a recipe called chickpea and turkey meatball soup, as Karen kindly said. And this one's a great one because it's got 4.6 stars in Cookie Dough. And I'm going to trust that, and I haven't made it before. So we're going to test it out tonight together. And that's the great thing about Cookie Dough and ratings. If you ever love, when you cook a recipe, make sure you rate it. You can do that on the app by pressing your fingers on the stars, or in the browser version as well. Make sure you rate things. Then you can help others to make choices as well. Let's get started. I've popped all of today's dishes into my weekly planner. I'm just going to tap on that one there, and I'm going to hit start cooking. Now, first of all, before you do cook this one, oops, timer off. Before you do cook this one, if you're wanting to slow cook your own chickpeas, you need to do that first. Now, I should have looked at that memo for myself over the long weekend and prepared my chickpeas in time. Unfortunately, I was having too much fun and forgot about my chickpeas till today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you through how to slow cook your chickpeas instead. So what you're going to do is the night before you want to use them, or you could do it in bulk another time, you're going to pop some dry chickpeas in water and leave it overnight. That's all. And the recipe will teach you exactly how to do it. So there's a TM6 slow cook chickpea with blade cover and a TM5 version as well. So just follow that and we'll email you those links. Once they've soaked and they've got a bit bigger, so I put these on about 2 p.m. today. I was hoping they might be ready in time, but no, they're going to get almost double that size. And I'm going to discard the water, and then we're going to cook them in the TM6 with the blade cover for about 2 hours, and they become beautiful. Now, when you've got those, you can freeze them in batches ready to go. And that's what I should have done before. But anyway, tonight we're going to make do with the tin version, which is always helpful as well. But yeah, give it a go. I'm loving the blade cover with chickpeas, so please give it a go. And that hearty things to add to your stews and soups for your winter warming goodies this winter. Now, this is the recipe is giving us a prep to get your blade cover ready. If you don't have one for this recipe, you probably want to get one, and so that's going to be very useful. It's also a peeler, so we might talk a bit about that later. Let's get this going, because first of all, we're going to make the meatballs, and then we're going to cook them in the stew. So that's awesome. In the meatballs goes some Parmesan cheese. Remember to chop your cheese up. That's going to give it some beautiful flavour. We're going to crush that up with the power of the Thermomix, and 2 garlic cloves. So I'm going to pop those in. Some fresh oregano if you got it. I've just got dried today. and that's going to give amazing flavour for our meatballs. We're just going to blitz that up for 5 seconds. So let's do that up high. Alrighty. Now, if there's anyone on the call who hasn't seen a Thermomix in action before, I'm going to show you what it's just done to that cheese and the garlic. It's decimated it for us, and that was really hard parmesan. If you wanted to, you could whiz it again, because that was only 5 seconds, but that will be enough. The next thing I'd love to teach you, if you haven't done it before, is mincing meat. So you could use minced meat that you buy. However, I'm going to show you how to mince it. I usually buy meat whole and then mince it myself. In this case, I've got chicken. So it's not turkey meatballs, it's chicken meatballs tonight. And what I've done is I chopped it up. Don't want to touch it, and I have to wash my hands. Chopped it up about that size. And I've popped it into the freezer just for a short time. If you pop it on a nice flat tray for about half an hour or an hour, that can help. But personally, if you forget, don't worry. I always mince meat that's fresh from the fridge, so it minces just fine. It'll just mince a little bit cleaner and neater if you do freeze it for about half an hour or an hour. So I'm just going to chuck that in. That's 300 grams of chicken chopped up. And I'm just going to deviate from the recipe because we're going to mince it. So first of all, you always want to chop your herbs and your garlic and all that first, and then you can mince afterwards if you're going to be mincing your own as well. Press your home button and you're going to jump out of the recipe. Now, there's 2 different ways to mince meat, as you'll find in the back of your white cookbook. You can either turbo or you can do about speed 6. I'm going to just do up to speed 6. That's what I prefer. And the reason I do it that way is because I can listen and just stop it. But sometimes I do turbo as well. Really depends. Let's just have a look. And that was 3 seconds up on about speed 7 I did. And I'm just going to have a little look. I need to grab my spatula. All right, let's have a little look and make sure that it's minced. And if you're in doubt, you could always give that another go. It actually looks really minced, but I'm just going to do it just in case. Yeah, so I did it another 2 seconds. Pressing the little green bookmark on your Thermomix will bring back your recipe. So now I'm back in my guided recipe, and I love guided recipes. And of course, with meatballs, adding an egg is going to help. So just popping an egg in there and a little bit of tomatoey flavour. And so this is the chickpea and turkey meatball soup. I think somebody asked what I'm cooking. So a bit of the tomato puree and some breadcrumbs. So I did these breadcrumbs just before the class. I usually do breadcrumbs fresh, but you could do them and freeze them as well. That's another great one you can freeze. So there we go. So there's plenty spare there. That was two slices approximately of bread. Save money there, which is awesome. I was just thinking, with all the prices going up, like I can't afford not to have a Thermomix. So it saves us so much money. I'm going to pop a little bit of salt in, and pop your salt of choice. A little bit of pepper. Just shake a little bit in there. And then we're just going to combine those beautiful ingredients for 5 seconds. Alrighty. Now that's one. I'm going to pop that aside, but I'll just show you what that looks like. That's coming together beautifully. So I'll use wet hands and make those into bowls in a moment. First of all, we will get the actual soup going. I might use that one. use this one. I'll just get the soup going so that that can start cooking, because we're actually going to cook our meatballs with the blade cover in the thermi bowl, which I haven't done before. I'd love to hear if one of you guys has done that before. So I'm just going to pop a bit of onion, cut in quarters, and a clove of garlic was in there as well. And let's chop that all up. Might use the same lid. There we go. Now, of course, once we chop our onions, and I'll show you what that looks like again for anyone who hasn't got a thermi, you might be wondering what all the fuss is about. This is what all the fuss is about. That was an onion cut in quarters and a garlic clove. And that was 3 seconds, I think. Might have even been 2. That's why we love our thermis. And I'm going to pop some olive oil in. So we're going to put a fair bit of olive oil in, 50 grams, which is a little bit more than our usual recipes. That'll make it nice and tasty. Just going to scrape that down, and the recipe actually tells us all of that we need to do. And I'm just going to pop that on to cook. And while that's happening, I'm going to wet my hands and make these into about 20 meatballs. So we will go over to Amy next, and she's going to show you some delicious winter warming foods as well.
Hi everybody, thank you for joining us. All right, so I'm making Edna's lemon curd cheesecake. Pop in the chat box if you've made it before, or if you've heard of it before but have really wanted to try it. It is a beautiful recipe, and this one was actually included in the Creating Something Incredible Together cookbook that was put out a couple of months ago to celebrate 20 years of Thermomix in Australia. And it was one that's originally appeared on the recipe community. So if you haven't checked out the recipe community yet, have a look at it, because it does have some really fantastic recipes. This one has been added to Cookie Dough, so you can use it on your Thermomix, although you could have added it, also imported it from the recipe community onto your creative recipes, which Jess might show us a little bit of a bit later. So first step for this one is I'm going to make the curd. I'll just quickly show you. I'm doing this, it'll make about six of these little ones. So they're great for a dinner party. If you want to do a larger one, you can. It goes well in a flan tin or even in a springform tin. So you can do it in either. This is one of our silicone with the rigid edges, and these are fantastic. They don't stick, they don't need to use any oil, no need to use any papers, which is good for me. I like to limit my waste, so I like this one. At the moment though, you can get the rose gold muffin tin when you purchase your Thermomix. So just keep in mind you could use the rose gold one with this recipe too. All right, so we're going to start now, and this lemon curd is fantastic. You can make larger portions if you want to. So if you wanted to make a larger portion of this recipe, you could just look for lemon curd, use the TM6 version, or whichever model you have, you can use make lemon curd. But we're going to start with 60 grams. So this is just a smaller portion just for this recipe. I like to make a couple of, like a whole jug's worth at a time in the winter, because lemons are so abundant, and it's a fantastic way to use up your lemons. So we've also got 60 grams of unsalted butter here, and I made this butter myself using cream in the Thermomix. So it's already sort of in pieces. I don't need to worry about chopping it up. If you're not sure how to make butter in the Thermomix, a great opportunity to have your consultant come around, and she or he can show you exactly how to do that. So we need 60 grams. We pre-weighed it. That's all right, nearly there. A tiny bit more, doesn't matter. Now this recipe does ask for white sugar. I just use raw sugar. I have whizzed it up for about 6 seconds on speed 8. Raw sugar is fine. It's slightly different color, but it really doesn't make a difference once the finished product. And I just whizzed it up because white sugar is generally a little bit finer than raw sugar. We want this to all mix together properly. So we're popping in 100 grams of sugar here. That might be a bit over. I'm going to just, something happened there. Anyway, doesn't matter. And 1 egg. Straight in. All right. And a little pinch of sea salt as well. So sea salt in sweet dishes, you might think, well, that's a bit counterintuitive. Salt actually brings out the flavour of sweet dishes. And then I'm going to hit next. And we're actually going to cook this for 5 minutes at 100 degrees on speed 4. And that's going to cook the egg in that lemon curd. And while that's cooking, I might just have a quick chat about, so one of the modes that we have available on the Thermomix is the thicken mode. And I'm not sure if you can see my screen, but it's just here, thicken mode here. Now, thicken mode is what we normally use to make custards, curds, gravies, sauces, all of those smooth sauces that do require a bit of thickening up. And it depends on what thickening agent you use. There will be 2 different temperatures on thicken mode. And the difference is because some sauces require a slightly higher temperature. So there'll be 80 degrees and 100 degrees. Usually the sauces that require that lower temperature are the egg-based ones. It just avoids the curdling. And then things like white sauce, gravy, that sort of thing usually will be on the higher thicken mode. The higher temperature of 100 degrees. And the way that thicken mode works, I found this out today, it's quite interesting. It measures the resistance in the bowl, so the blades are spinning, and when the ingredients are thinner, so it actually has weighed all of those ingredients in. When it's thinner, it will the blades spin faster and draw less current on the actual motor of the Thermomix. When the sauce begins to thicken, the blades do face some resistance and they start to move slightly slower, I mean micro amounts slower, and it draws more current on the motor of the Thermomix. So that's how the Thermomix knows that it's getting to the stage where it's thick enough, which I thought was quite exciting. So this recipe, you can use lemons, lemon curd obviously, but there's all sorts of different types of curd that you can make. Some people have made, it is clever, Tracy. So some people like to make berry curd. You can do things like quince curd, pineapple curd, really any fruit that isn't sort of that softer texture. So I'm not sure how well banana curd would work, but you could definitely do things with a juicier fruit. Orange curd, lots of different flavoured curds. So you can choose a flavour curd to go in this recipe and change it every time you try it. So not just lemon curd in this one. One last thing I wanted to show you was, before we move on to Karen, was when you make it using your lemons and this is a little waste less tip. Before you juice your lemons to go in your lemon curd, I always peel the skins off my lemons so that then I freeze them in these little tubs in the freezer. And then whenever I need lemon zest for a recipe, like a gremolata or a cake, I don't have to have a whole lemon to use the zest. I just use the peel. And the peel actually chops much finer when it's frozen in the Thermomix. You won't get it, it won't stick to the sides like it can do. So when it's frozen, it's much easier to chop up more finely. All right, I'm going to pass over to Karen now, and while this curd finishes, and she's going to show you her. Oh, are we going to Karen? Sorry.
I'm just going to check. I think it might be Jess, if Jess is ready.
Jess. Sorry, thank you. I've got my run sheet.
Thank you. Thank you. So that looks amazing, that lemon curd, and you've inspired me, Amy. I've got a stack of lemons that are nearly ready. So I would love to make some as well. Definitely. Now, our onions and garlic have finished cooking. So that was a nice 5-minute cook. That's looking beautiful. And we want to add some more flavour because we're creating the stew now for our meatballs, which I managed to roll. I wet my hands twice to do this amount, and they'll be ready to go into our stew. Now, so we're just putting a little bit of tomato, and you could add flavours that you like. If you wanted to put some cumin and some coriander and different flavours that you like, you could definitely pop them in. Sorry, this time. All right, and the next thing you're going to pop in is some chickpeas. So we're going to pop those in, and we're going to add some water. So I'll just pop that in to create our stew. And of course, whenever we add water, we usually want to add some stock, don't we? Who's got some stock at home? This is something you'll usually make with your consultant when you first get your Thermomix. Love to hear who's got the chicken stock. I've only got veggie stock, so that's what we're using today. That's going to flavour our stew. There we go. And I'm going to pop a little bit of chili flakes. By the way, I'll do a mix shop plug. These little yogurt jars can become cute little spice jars as well. You can buy the lid and the stickers for your spice rag. We want a little bit of salt again. This is in our stew. And a little bit of pepper as well. Oh, open that one. And shake some pepper and salt in to your liking. I'm just going to get that to cook now. So this is sort of midway full, and we're going to skip that, reverse. Before we warm it, we're going to blitz it for 20 seconds. So we're just going to crush those chickpeas and make a nice thick stew. So just 20 seconds of blitzing. Alrighty, now while it was going, I pressed the preview button to see what was coming up next to give me a head start. And it told me to transfer this mixture, this soup, transfer it to another bowl. It's basically a nice thick soup. So because I've got 2 bowls, I'm just going to get another bowl. And the best way of getting a second bowl, of course, is to join as a consultant. You can earn some. You can earn more than one. It's asking us for the blade cover. So often when you're doing slow cook and things like that, you'll do your prep and your chop and your sauteing, and then you'll actually then have pop your blade cover on underneath the things that you've been preparing. So in this case, we've prepared the soup that we're going to put back in. Now just double check you know how to put this on. Basically, pop it on and you'll know when it's attached, and that's when it won't kind of slip off easily, and you know that's in the right spot. That usually goes on like that, and I'm just going to pour that soup. You can see how beautiful and how beautifully the Thermomix pureed that for us, all those chickpeas and everything else. Pop that in, and now we're going to cook our soup. Before we do, we'll pop in a few more chickpeas because we want a textured soup. So this is on top of the blades. So anything we put on now into this stew or this soup will stay there beautifully. So I'm going to heat that up. In this case, we're just popping in some chickpeas into our soup. Let's jump over to Karen, and we will see these go in at the end. This is such a simple dish. But yeah, 12 minutes of cooking, and we'll jump over to Karen.
Amy, were we jumping into your assembling of your thing?
Yeah, let's go back to come back to me.
Okay.
It's all right. No, it's all right. We're all winging it here. It's fine. You don't have to have any super skills to be a Thermomix consultant, that's for sure. So this is the lemon curd. You can see how beautiful and thick that's become. It will thicken up as it sits. And pop it into hot jars. If you're keeping it, if you made a big batch, you just pop it into hot jars that have been, and when you're cooking your curd, you can actually sterilize your jars on top with the varoma. So you turn your jars upside down, put your varoma lid on, and it will actually, the steam from the curd will sterilize your jars, because it does go for quite a lot longer when you do a full jug. So it keeps in the fridge for weeks and weeks, and we like it on pancakes and waffles and all sorts of things. So, it's great on ice cream too, in yogurt, in plain yogurt. So very, very versatile lemon curd. All right, so now I'm going to make the base. I'm using my second bowl too, Jess, so I don't have to clean. Because I've got this silicone molds, I don't have to actually grease those, which is really handy, saves extra time. So now I'm going to pop in 150 grams of self-raising flour. We've got another 60 grams of unsalted butter here in pieces, but of course, because this is one that I've just done, it's already in little bits, so I don't need to worry about cutting it up. One of the advantages of making your own butter. And then we've got, it says to have a sprig of fresh lemon thyme. It's an optional if you wanted to. I think I'm going to omit it. Just, I think my kids might look at it and go, oh, there's something green in that dessert. So I'm just going to leave it out tonight. But you could add lemon thyme in there as well. 100 grams of the white sugar. This is just more brown sugar that this is the same batch that I had before. There we go. 1 egg. Try not to get the yolk in there. Sorry, the shell. I'm living dangerously, cracking it straight in there, aren't I? And then we're just going to whiz it up for 30 seconds on speed 5. So you really know it's done when you can hear the motor starting to labour. Well, it's not labouring, it's just going a lot more slowly. And then we've got, so this is the mixture here. It looks a little bit wet to me. I'm a bit surprised actually. I was expecting it to be a little bit more crumbly, but that's okay. So I'm just going to put a tablespoon of the curd into the, of the pastry or the crumble into the bottom there. And then I'm going to drizzle on some lemon curd over the top. About a tablespoon's worth of lemon curd. And I'm going to use my cooking instincts here a little bit. See how wet that is there? It's actually quite sloppy. I'm going to do my bases, and then I'm going to go and add a little bit more flour back. I'm going to show you afterwards. I'm going to add some more flour into this mixture because I feel like it's a little bit not quite the right consistency. I want it to be a little bit more like a crumble. So I'm going to pass back over to Karen now. It's Karen's turn, and I'll show you what I mean when I'm finished. I'll put these in the oven. They take about 15 minutes, and we'll go from there. All right, over to you, Karen.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, the one that I've done from the recipe community was cake batter, top and bottom. So maybe you've done something a little bit different. I actually really like the sound of the crumble on top. That sounds delicious. Okay, so over to me. I've just popped up the Jerusalem artichoke soup with cheese shards recipe for anyone that wants to follow along. It is just from the vegetarian cookbook. I thought it was something a little bit different because who doesn't want a soup with some beautiful cheese shards? And artichokes are coming into season now. So if you've been to buy an artichoke, it does look a little bit like ginger, like fresh ginger, but it is completely different. I remember my mum growing them when I was a child, and that's probably the last time that I actually experienced the taste of them too. But I'm grown up now and I actually like them, so that's really good. So this recipe, basically, first thing we're going to do is just to make that nice shard. So we start off with 2 types of cheese. I won't call out the measurements, but we're putting a hard cheese or Parmesan, and we're putting a, I think they say a cheddar, but I've just got a matured cheese in there. So they are going in, of course, preheating our oven as well. And we're going to do a bit of a blitz of the cheese. You've all done that before, I'm sure. So this one's just going to be 10 seconds on speed 8. You can actually hear after about 5 or 6 seconds that it's done. So after a while, you'll start to listen to your Thermomix and you'll begin to know when things are done. So I'll show you that. It's definitely done. You'll hear that. Now, when you're going up to chop anything hard, so, you know, thinking about your soups, your salads, even your vegetable stock, don't go up so slowly that you hear the motor labouring. It's like going up a hill in your car and you've barely got your foot on the accelerator. Of course, it's not going to quite make it up the hill, is it? A Thermomix, when you've got things to chop, needs you to go to the speed quickly. Because if you hear that struggling sound where it's going and it stops, the more you hear that, the sooner your blades are going to wear out. So that sound is actually the motor not quite being fast enough to chop what's in the bowl. So get up there to the speed that it wants quickly, let it chop, give it the speed it needs. Your blades will last you longer. Okay, cheeses are chopped. We now have our butter. So we're using unsalted butter. We've just chopped that into cubes again, which is what we do when we're doing any chopping type things. And we've got our plain flour going in there. Easy when you pre-measure it, isn't it? And now we're going to go for our paprika. We're just going a teaspoon. Now you could change this for whatever you want. This goes beautifully with that particular soup, so I'm going to leave it. And just a little bit of, oh, sorry, not normal pepper, cayenne pepper or cayenne pepper. I always struggle to pronounce that. So I'm just going to go a quick little flick. No measuring that. And then we're going to put our sea salt in. So a teaspoon of sea salt. Excuse, I was going to use my fingers. I better be civilized. You're all watching me, aren't you? And just 1 egg. So that's in there. And then we're going to bring it all together. Now, when I did a trial run, this didn't go without needing some tweaking. So a bit like Amy, I did do some tweaking. So in a moment, we'll see how this batch goes. The batch I did earlier had come straight from the fridge. And I felt like it just needed a little bit more moisture in it. So, and that will vary depending on your cheeses. So always, when you've got a pastry type dough, if you can't bring it together and have it not crumbling away, then it needs a little bit more moisture. But you do need to see little pieces of butter, and that helps it to become more flaky. So don't completely blitz the life out of it. So I can see mine is looking like crumbs. That's good, as long as when I do the pinch test, it's going to come together and be able to be rolled. So that, to me, just needs a tiny bit more water. So that tells me that's probably my cheese. I'm not a cheese eater, so mine came out of the freezer, my Parmesan cheese, so perhaps it's dried out a little bit more. So I'm just simply going to do this step again. Here's my fingers. And I've got maybe a tablespoon of water. I don't even think I'm going to put it all in, to be honest. I'm just going to put a little bit in. I just want to see it sort of form a little bit bigger crumbs. It's almost there now. I think that'll do it. Let me show you what I mean. All right, you see how it looks a bit more like a crumble now? bigger crumbs. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use our Thermomat. The recipe also says that you can use, you know, baking paper, whatever you like. I love this because as a consultant, I got to earn one, but as a customer, you'll get the brand new one with the circles on there with the measurements for doing your pies. And that's part of the Host Reward collection. So a fantastic option for you when you host a demonstration. Hosting a demonstration is you plus two, so two other households. It doesn't have to be opening your home up. It can be doing what we're doing tonight. You could have a couple of other people on the call with you who are like-minded with the Thermomix. They could be at your house, they could be at their own house. And you let your consultant know that that's what you're planning, and we will make sure that your consultant takes care of your Host Reward plan. Now, I've got it all on my mat. I'm glad the camera's positioned properly. I'm actually going to push it together with my mat. Why get it all on my hands? I do like clean hands. So this is nice for me. I'll just push it all together, make it form a rectangle is what I'm trying to do. And next I'm going to roll it out, but not before I do a bit of flouring. So I'm just going to lift it. I'm trying to make sure that it will actually hold pretty much there. The rolling will help. And I'm going to sprinkle some flour on there. I don't want to have problems getting it off later. Because I put that little bit of moisture in there, I do need a little bit of flour underneath. So there we are. That's looking pretty good. Let's get that rolling pin. So do you know what other Host Rewards you can get? There's not just the baking mat and the big mat that I've got here. We've also got things like those thermoservers, and there's 3 different size thermoservers. So if you've got one, you might have a round 2.6, you might have an oval 2.5, or you might have the yogurt size, the nice white one. Whichever one you've got, could you use a second one? If you haven't got one, you don't know what you're missing out on. And they are exclusive Host Rewards. So we have more classes coming up. If you've got the link from a consultant, ask her to keep you updated or to send you our link tree. Maybe one of the other team leaders could put the link tree in, or one of the consultants on the call. If you can put it in the chat box, that'd be really helpful for these lovely guests we've got tonight. So my goal here is to roll this out, getting a little bit sticky. So a little bit more flour, to about 30 to 40 centimetres. And then we're going to cut it up and we're going to bake it in the oven. So getting there now, nice and even. I don't want thick and thin shafts. We want them all to be similar. All right, that will do. And now I've got a nice little tool from the mix shop. This is just a cutting, I'll say blade, but it's not sharp like a knife. We've also got plastic ones as well. So something new from the mix shop. What I love about it is it's got our measurements on here. So I want to now do my shards. And look, I'm going to take the easy way out. I'm actually just going to go through the middle, make myself 2 rectangles, and then I want to do sort of long triangles. First ones always look the worst because I've got edges obviously on there. So it doesn't matter if you're making thicker or thinner, whatever you want to do. I'll do all different ones. And then we're going to lift them, put them onto my other Thermomat, and we're going to bake them in the oven. Now I think I asked Siri to give me 15 minutes previously, and it was pretty much spot on. So you can see there, I'll just grab my other tray with the other mat that comes in the duo set as the Host Reward. So I'll move my flour or I'll be in a mess in a minute, won't I? I'm good at making a mess in the kitchen. It's a good thing you can only see a small portion of the kitchen is all I can say. They don't really spread out. So I found that I could put them quite close together. I don't want them touching because I don't want them to, you know, they might snap apart, I don't know. But I've just been putting them on the tray and I've got a little bit of a gap between. So that will go into a 180-degree oven and for 15 minutes. And when they're nicely golden brown, they're going to come out. before you put them into the oven, you're going to get your paprika and you're just going to do a little sprinkle on there. Now, I did the sprinkle after I put it onto the tray that was going into the oven. And what you're going to end up with, excuse me while I just move this, you're going to end up with these beautiful, beautiful shards like this. Now, while we head over to Jess, I'm thinking she's probably ready. I'm actually going to get my soup on. You guys know how to do a soup. It's pretty simple, so I'm not going to take you through all of those things. But we've got the artichokes, we've got the leeks going in there, there's some garlic. I'm trying to remember what else. There's actually an apple in the second part of the cooking. So lots of yummy ingredients. What have I missed? The parsnip, that's right. That's what I could taste before, Amy. I could taste the parsnip. It's got pouring cream in it. That is optional. You don't need to put that in. A bit of lemon juice, a bit of nutmeg, a bit of salt, a bit of pepper, and some lemon thyme. So I'm going to get that soup cooking and we'll come back to you and we're going to do the blend. So it's over to Jess, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Karen. Now that soup sounds really, really good. So many lovely flavour profiles that I don't normally put in a soup. So thank you for inspiring me. hopefully we're inspiring our guests as well. Now, mine has heated up for the 12 or so minutes, and now it's smelling amazing, by the way. And now it's just prompting me to pop the meatballs in. So I'm just going to pop them straight in. Now remember, the blaze cover is in there. So this is actually the first time, as I said, that I've tried cooking meatballs with the blade cover. Normally I would put them in the varoma. And to be honest, we don't usually have meatballs that often because I'm largely vegetarian, but I really wanted to try this dish out with you guys tonight. I don't really want to plonk them in case it splashes me. There we go. So they're in there, and it's asking for some kale. Now, I didn't want to go and buy kale, so we grabbed some spinach from the garden, and I have a feeling it's not quite enough, but that's okay. So I've just roughly chopped up the spinach. You could put whatever you want in there, a bit of greens. And we are just going to stir that just a tad to make sure those meatballs are all sort of submerged. So this is what it's looking like in there. They're looking really good. I'm very intrigued. And I'm going to pop the lid on and give those guys a bit of a cook. So that'll be a 14-minute cook. Let us jump over and visit Amy, I think it might be, if I'm right.
I've put those, I put them in the oven already. Let me see if I can show you. I'm with my webcam.
Yep.
So, sorry, everybody. My webcam cord might not be long enough. All right, here we go. Let's see. All right, so they're in the oven now. It's a bit hard to see. Let's see. There we go. So you can maybe able to make out the crumble topping on top. I just did little balls basically. I added a bit more flour. So they'll need, they've got another sort of 12 or so minutes on them. So perhaps come back to me. I think, Jess, you were going to chat about.
Yep. No worries.
There's one thing there that you've got under your Thermomix.
Yes.
That I thought, and I wasn't sure whether Karen was going to mention anything, but maybe you will.
Yeah, I definitely will. I just remembered as well when I noticed a bit of my soup on it. So for those that haven't seen the glider board before, you might have heard about it and not seen it. I've got a glider board under my Thermomix here, and basically we listen to our customers. Customers have been asking us about slider boards and chopping boards for many years, and we've always said, well, we don't know if they're safe, and we're not quite sure if they might, slide off the bench. So Thermomix in Australia took that upon themselves to do some research and development and have created this for us, which is awesome. I'm just going to lift it slightly and show you how it works. So normally I glide it out and I put it in front of me here to work, and then we slide it back, you know, when I'm not using it. So let's slide it a bit closer again. Probably should have had it a bit closer for the class. It is so easy, and this is a host reward this month. So like Karen was mentioning, yeah, if you want to grab one, you can unlock the host reward price just for having 2 people come along to one of these sessions. We've got some more coming up. We've also got an in-person session in Walkerville, which is like a winter warmers class as well, at the end of June. So Tuesday, the 28th of June. And I'm going to be there making some beautiful things. You're going to get some warm apple cider drink when you arrive, and we're going to do some hands-on things and some demonstration, chatting and eating. It's free. Come along. And if you bring along a couple of friends, you can access the glider board for $50. If one of them is inspired and decides to start their own Thermomix journey, you get it for free. So yeah, that's June only. Super easy. If you've ever, you know, wanted to move your Thermomix around easily, this is what you're going to get. They're normally $149.95, so you could save that if one of your friends starts their amazing journey with a TM6, or if you're just showing them, just sort of let them know what it is, you can get one for $50. So please talk to your consultant to find out more about that, because we'd love everyone to access the free prices. Now, I think what I might do is we're going to have a look at Cookie Do while all our Thermies are busy. So what I'll do is just share my screen. Let's have a look. I'll do desktop. There we go. Now, I'm assuming everyone on the call has Cookie Do, but if you don't have Cookie Do, then you can have a 30-day free trial. Just sign up at cookiedo.com.au. Remember the .au on the end for the Australian one. And we also have a Cookie Do info session. I think it might be Wednesday the 22nd or something like that of June. And that will also be in that link that we put in the chat box just before, if you'd like to learn more about Cookie Do. But what we're going to do tonight is have a look at our recipes that we're doing and have a look at some other winter warming recipes. And by the way, please put in the chat box if you've got a favourite winter warming recipe that you would love to share with everyone. These are the dishes we're doing tonight. And I was just going to click on the chickpea and turkey meatball one. And as you can see, 4.6 stars, 53 ratings. So it must be pretty good. This is the one we're doing. But down here in tags, you'll see some tags. And I thought I would love to click on there's one that's called warm, I noticed before. Is it there somewhere? And there's another one called winter. I think it's in here. Unless it's tricking me. There's winter. Oh, there's warm. All right. So we'll click on both of them. I tried winter warmers, but it didn't really bring up things that I wanted to see. Oh, mine's gone in a different language. What's going on there? I'm going to go back. Let's click on winter. You certainly didn't do this earlier. I did practice. Let's click on, oh, something's going wrong. But that's okay. We can always fix it. It's literally never done this. It's coming up in German for me, even though my default is English. Interesting. I'm just going to click Australia or English. Let's click English. Cookie Do loves playing games with me when I am when I'm on a class. So, okay. I've just typed in warm, and that's going to give us some ideas of some warm things. Now, of course, if you're after some mains, then you might want to go into your filter again and just click mains, main meat. We'll do main veggie as well. And that's all. So I'm going to Let's get rid of my Zoom bar. There we go. So as you can see, it's really narrowed down. We've got warm mains of vegetarian and meat dishes. So giving us some lovely ideas. Of course, you could type in things like soup and stew if you feel like that as well. And then when you see something that you like, obviously you can add it to your shopping list and to your, see something's going wrong with my cookie dough. I might need to refresh it because I have had it on pause for a while. But yeah, so basically you can add them to your shopping list and add them to your weekly planners and things like that. So have a go if you haven't already. Have a go on Cookie Dough, typing in winter. You'll get some lovely ideas. And look at that. So it looks like winter's looking quite yummy when we type it in. And you can access the highly rated dishes as well. That's what I like to do to narrow down. Do any of you ladies want me to swap over to your kitchen? Or are you happy for me to keep talking?
I'm ready to finish off, but you continue on until you're done, Jess.
I think I'm pretty much done. I did want to just show people just briefly, because we do have a cookie dough info session. And of course, ask your consultant if you'd like some specific training, because we love hearing from you and we want to help you. We don't want you sitting there, you know, not knowing how to do something. We want to help you. So make sure you reach out to your consultant if you need help finding exactly the right recipe for you. All right, over to you, Karen.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Jess. Really appreciate that. I'll just unpin you. So the soup has come to the end of the cooking. And now this is a blended soup. So I just wanted to talk about safety when it comes to blending soups and things. We probably haven't done it for a number of months coming out of summer and autumn, but now we're full on into soups and blending and things like that. So when you're blending, this recipe here, I've already blended it while you weren't watching, so but this recipe here wants us to go to speed 1. Some recipes will ask us to go to speed 5. And then gradually go up to 9 or 10, depending on the individual recipe. The reason we do that lower speed first is because your soup has probably got lumps. Mine had pieces of artichoke, pieces of leeks, apple. They're all softened, but when we first do it, we're going to get a bit of bouncing, a bit of jumping as we're breaking down those lumps. So we don't go all the way up to the top speed straight away. And it's the same when you made your vegetable stock, when your Thermomix was delivered. So this one, speed 1. Let it get past the jumping if it's going to do any. You'll hear it gradually going up to the speed. So normally it's speed 5. I find this one quite unusual, to be honest. And then you gradually take it up to the speed that they're asking you to do. Simple. And most of those blends are going to go for about a minute. Okay, I think it's a bit of overkill, but I guess it depends what you're actually doing. Now, I just want to rewind a little bit. When it comes to that blending, don't ever pop your hand over the top of the Thermomix. You don't need to hold the measuring cup down. What you will do is end up burning the delicate skin in between your fingers, because the steam will come rushing out when you start blending. Another really important thing is there's a maximum line on your Thermomix jug. And if you are to go over that max line with solid volume, so I'm not talking about chopping a salad, you know, you can have herbs up here, but I'm talking solid volume, a soup or a stew. If you go past it, number 1, it's probably going to boil over and make a mess. Number 2, if you're blending, you will burn yourself. It will come spraying out every possible area that it can. So basic safety with a Thermomix, never go past the max line, ever. So we all want to stay safe. Rewinding a bit, if you want to hurry up your soup, get the trusty old kettle out. It's a bit of a draw on the power, but boil that water. Mine had 900 mils of water on it. In it, I just boiled the kettle, sped it up. It'll probably save you anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes in your Thermomix. Yeah, I reckon 5 minutes minimum. All right, so mine is all nicely blended now. So we have our lovely artichoke soup. I'm going to pop it into my thermo server because I've got lots of them, being a consultant, and someone that hosted demonstrations before I became one as well. I have done a bit of a slopsy down on the bench there, but you can't see that, so I'm going to pretend it didn't happen. Hey. So the soup is beautifully smooth. We can put that into our bowl. Now, I purposely made my shards quite long because I wanted them to sit on top of the bowl. So soup is in. Got our lovely shards here, cheesy shards. I think a little bit of lemon thyme as a little decoration would be nice, a little bit on top. And then lay a couple of cheesy shards over the bowl. And of course, there will be plenty more of them sitting on the table. I'm going to have to take a nice photo after, aren't I? But there it is. We've got a lovely bowl of soup and we've got our cheesy shards to go with it. So I think we're now just heading back over to, is it Amy or Jess? I'm not sure.
How's your cook going, Jess? My tea cakes need just a little bit longer.
Yeah, mine, I've got a minute, but they're looking, I had a little peek and they're looking cooked. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to pop them in my oval thermo server, actually. What should we chat about then, ladies? What's most popular for us to chat about next for our guests, I wonder?
Well, oh, sorry, Karen, go on.
Oh, you're okay. I was thinking I was going to finish off, but with talking to people about the business information session. One of the things I love about this business is, you know, we've got Jess is over there in Mount Barker. I'm here in Woodcroft. Amy's over in Millswood. We've got consultants all over the place, not necessarily in South Australia. With our Thermomix business, we're able to work within Australia, both with our teams and also with our Thermomix customers. So it's such a flexible business that I would love to invite you to take your Thermomix and make it work for you. Make it give you those extra things that you would like around the house to give you a bit of independence or maybe a little bit of freedom. And we have business information sessions. I might just sit here and type them into the chat box, but we've got one on Thursday, this Thursday at 2:30 p.m. And this is SA time so my New Zealand person that was on here, I'm sorry, I don't know what time that is. And we've also got one on the 23rd of June at 8:30 p.m. and the 30th of June, 8:30 p.m. So lots of options there. You can jump onto a business information session. You can learn what's involved, how much time, when am I going to get paid, you know, what's expected of me, all those sorts of things, and learn more and have the benefits of earning these extra bowl blade and lid sets and thermomats and thermo servers and vacuum cleaners and all sorts of things that we're able to enjoy. So I will type that into the chat box. Please talk to your consultant, the person that sent you here. If you don't have someone, please reach out. You'll get an email from us in the next few days. Please reach out to us, and I think Amy might be sending that, and we'd be happy to hook you up. All right, over to you, Jess.
Sounds great. Thank you, Karen. I've just got to find myself. There we are. Replace spotlight. There we go. And I'm really happy to show you the finished outcome of my meatball stew. They're looking really cute, and I think I like the look of them better than my steamed ones in the aroma. So let's pour them in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour onto my spatula so I don't splash it on myself. There we go, and I've got it in my oval thermo server because then I'll be able to, oops, I am splashing a bit. It's what happens when you cook, doesn't it? I've popped them in my oval thermo server just so I can see it a little bit more. Otherwise, my little meatballs might have sunk to the bottom of the other one. And this is what it looks like. I've got my oval thermo server, and I'll keep the lid on to keep it nice and warm. I'll give that a taste when Amy's showing us hers, and I'll report back. And I might even be able to plate it up. It's suggesting to plate up with a little bit of lime. So I'm going to do that and have a little taste. But let's see what Amy's hopefully her tea cakes are ready for us and we'll have a lovely meal. I loved the look of your cheese shard and artichoke soup too, Karen. Looked amazing what we've created. Over to you, Amy.
All right, so the tea cake, I'll take them out of the oven just in, you know, in the interest of time, but I just wanted to show you how they've come out. So you can see that they've risen quite a lot in the oven, and that's because we had the batter at the bottom. You could probably make more than 6. I think that batch in this size, that batch probably could get maybe 8 out of that. Just reduce the amount, because I did have a little bit of curd left. Just reduce the amount that you put in the bottom, and you'll be able to get a couple more out of that batch, I think. As I said, I've never made it like this before. I've only ever made the big one, but you can see here how the curd is sort of spilling out, and it looks really, really delicious, and all of these beautiful crumbly bits on top. You need to leave them in the pan until it's completely cool. So I'm going to leave it in there now, but then you can serve it with a bit of whipped cream. Beautiful for afternoon tea, or, you know, after a dinner party. They're absolutely beautiful. So that's the lemon curd tea cakes, and I love the crunchy bits on top. That's my favorite part about this dessert, is the lemon and the crunch. All right, so Jess, I think you've got to give us your final verdict on the soup there.
Awesome. I was a little bit slow and haven't tasted it yet. Just a sec. Oh, thank you. Thanks for swapping over. But here we go. Here's what it looks like. I've got my lime. I'm going to squeeze that on, and I reckon it's a bit too hot for me to try. But we'll give it a go. We'll give it a go. It's looking amazing, and
part of the technique I've been studying for picking up women.
oh, yeah, it tastes really good. Tastes amazing. I'm sure the chicken bowls do as well. If anything, it was a bit runnier than I expected. I might not have put enough chickpeas in. Feel free to add some more vegetables if you like, and you might need to add an extra minute or 2 to the cook time. It wasn't very long cook time. So I give this one a great rating, very easy, including the fact that we even minced our own meat here. So yeah, give it a go, and I hope you guys stay nice and warm during winter, and hopefully we inspired you with tonight's class to look up some winter warming dishes, and please share with your consultant, or if you're in the Thermi chat group, share with others, and let's all create beautiful, healthy, warming food for our families this winter. Over to you, Karen.
Thank you. Now, Amy, sorry, I just spotlighted you. Ooh, does it taste good? Amy, I spotlighted you because before I was typing in, and I wasn't sure, were you pinned when you were showing your lovely finished produce? I'm not sure that you were.
I believe so. I thought so.
Good. Sorry, I missed it because I was typing. So sorry, I'll just pin myself for a moment. So I just want to thank everybody for coming. I know you've come far and wide. Thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, tell us in the chat box what it is you want to try. Jess, I have to say my recipe's got 4.9 stars. So I don't know. I don't know whose is better. You know, we might have to all reply to the email telling what we've made and how it was.
Yeah.
But we'll send you an email with the recipes and the business information dates so that you can look on there. And we would love to see you again. The Southern Sapphires branch page link tree is in the comments. If you haven't already grabbed it and saved it, do it now, because we don't tell you when our classes are next month, because we do 2 a month plus extras. So definitely 2 a month, and there's usually some more. So come and join us again. Come and learn more and more about your Thermomix. We change the subjects all the time, make them very relevant to what's happening. I think budget is on everyone's mind at the moment. So, you know, we'll be focusing a lot on budgets in the future too, to help us all out. So with all of that, I'd like to thank Jess and thank Amy. We really appreciate your time, and thank you everybody for joining us. It was an absolute pleasure to be here with you. If you want to unmute and say hi, please do. But yeah, we're going to enjoy our goodies now. Thank you.
Karen, I just saw a question in the chat box about the tea cakes with the crumble topping. I didn't weigh how much extra flour I added, unfortunately. to tell you definitively. I reckon it was probably about 30 grams more.
So what were you looking for? Did you have a bit of a crumb, or you just made
Yeah, so now it has a bit of a crumb on it, and it's a little bit more crumbly type rather than being cake battery. So yeah, I added about 30 grams more flour, no more sugar or anything like that. It didn't need it because it's sweet enough with the lemon curd and things. But that'll just add that crunch.
That's fantastic.
It came out looking a bit like big breadcrumbs, and then I just sort of crumbled it over the top.
I love it. All right, I'm just seeing if I've missed anything. Hello, Judy. I've just seen your message. All righty. Well, thank you, ladies. I think we've all got dinner ready for tomorrow night, haven't we?